Good morning, disc golf fans. It's a chilly late summer morning here in Leicester, Massachusetts. We are an hour west of the city of Boston for round number 2 of the playoffs. It's the MVP Open at Maple Hill. You are watching Tournament Central before the FPO lead card action goes off. Brian Earhart, Nate Perkins. Nate, we had a very eventful day yesterday. Beautiful scoring conditions for both divisions, but talk most specifically about the FPO and what we have looking forward to today. Your leader, Eveliina Salonen.
Yeah, Eveliina looked great yesterday, and I was just watching her warm up over there. Everybody's bundled up, Brian. The sun's not going to come out today here in Leicester, and 10 miles per hour currently, but gusting up to 25. And on paper yesterday, it said 8 to 12, but you and I were out there and we felt gusts higher than that. So the gusts are going to be up there to that 30 mile per hour mark, and we know how hard Maple is playing without wind on that front 9. But as soon as these players start to climb that hill into the back, they're going to be facing that direct headwind on 9, on 10, and back into the wind on 11. And yeah, it's a completely different conditions they're going to face today.
It is one of the hardest courses to play when the wind picks up on the entire Disc Golf Pro Tour because of how unpredictable it is. We talk about swirling winds. It seems like week in and week out, but out here it's bizarre because there's little pockets of air that you can't really feel off the tee pad. There's water scattered throughout the course, and the wind seems to come off of that, and you don't know whether or not some of these tough wooded technical shots are going to be affected. And now when it's 20, 30 miles an hour, you can assume that it is going to be impacted, but you don't know what direction it's going sometimes. So it should be a very interesting day. As we see here, 54 degrees, 83% humidity. It says only 8 miles an hour, but like you said, Nate, gusts up to 30 out here at Maple Hill. We have to talk about the leader right now, Eveliina Salonen. A really, really solid performance on the putting green. No circle 2 putts made, but it doesn't matter. She goes 11 for 12 from C1X. What do you make of that?
Well, it's her best performance on the putting green in over 2 years, Brian, since her fallout at the European Championship in 2019. And she's returned, and she's not making a big deal about it. As you said, she's just waving it off like it's another day, another walk in the park. And yeah, 72% circle 2 in regulation. Her and Haley King led with that stat, and that's what we're used to seeing from her. And Eveliina's going to have a slight advantage. I feel like her ability to prepare for cold conditions, I feel like she has a little bit more experience there. I mean, she's been pretty open about how little she does play in the winter, but this time of year back in Finland, I mean, this is a warm day for her. So I think she and Kristin, they know how to prepare when the temperature's low, as it is today.
We also just have to talk about play style and shot selection. Eveliina Salonen has the ability of throwing faster than pretty much anybody in the FPO division and is able to throw power hyzer with something really overstable and beat these winds and play a more conservative style because of it. She's not going to have to overshape the disc when things get a little bit unpredictable out there. And like you said, first place, C2 in regulation, 13 looks for birdie from C2 and in yesterday, 9 from inside of circle 1 yesterday. So if she continues to putt the way she's putting, she's still, in my opinion, the favorite to win this tournament, as she really is every tournament that she's putting well. But we do have some words from Eveliina Salonen after her round yesterday. Let's take a listen to what she had to say.
Couple of nice birdies there on 17 and 18 to finish at 6 under par. How do you feel about that number?
Feels good. It was just so much fun today, and we had good cards, so I really enjoyed.
Yeah, what is it about the actual course here at Maple Hill that allows you to have fun?
Maybe the holes, but it's not fun if you don't hit the fairways, so like there is tricky holes.
And what skills do you feel like it's testing?
I think everything. Like you have to hit your lines, and you have to like have the touch, but you have to also throw far and also putting because there's a couple of scary greens. I think it's just like the holes are not that long, but you just need little tree kick and you're OB, and it's not easy to continue there. So yeah, it's easy to play over par.
Well, chasing down Eveliina Salonen right behind her is Haley King, who had kind of a frustrating hole on hole number 16, a lost disc penalty after a heartbreaking kick that no one seemed to see. But Haley still shot the 4 under par, and she's mentioning that she's trying to focus on playing golf this week, throwing the disc just about as well as Eveliina Salonen, tying her C2 in regulation. Mm-hmm. She's third place in Circle 1 in regulation. She only missed 1 putt yesterday from C1X. That's not really a surprise for Haley, being one of the better push putters in the division. Didn't make any Circle 2 putts yesterday, which is kind of bizarre. Today's not really going to be a day to make up strokes in that category. She reminds me so much of an Anthony Barella. I feel like the two of them are kind of mirror images of each other in their respective divisions. Do you agree or disagree with that, Nate?
Yeah, I've always liked that comparison between King and Barella. I think just if you're just looking at the speed alone, it's a great call. And sometimes, Brian, the Circle 2 stats can be a little deceiving. Her putt on 4 was a layup. Her putt on 6, unmakeable, and was also a layup. I feel like perhaps sometimes we need that Circle 2 obstructed asterisk right there. And yeah, Haley looked really good yesterday. And talking to her after a round, we really learned a lot about how she wanted to play the course. She played it exactly how she intended to. I mean, I've actually never heard her talk about throwing mids and putters, about playing a course safe. She's always leaning toward the aggressive side of things. So to hear her talk about that's how she wanted to play Maple Hill, I think today with the wind up, that's going to be a big advantage for her.
Well, something that I took away from this before we listened to her talk after her round yesterday is that now that she's moved to Charlotte, she's playing a lot more rounds at courses like Nevin, Hornets Nest, Eastway. These are all courses where aggressive play doesn't get you too much. You have to score by throwing accurate and throwing controlled. Power doesn't do much out there. I've watched Michael Johansson play Nevin with 3 discs and shoot 8 under par. So I think she's learning a lot from having these newer home courses and practicing them day in and day out when she flies back home. So here, this is no different than the East Coast style that she already plays now. So I think she is definitely capable of chasing down Eveliina and giving the rest of the field a run for their money, trying to make it to the top. We did talk to Haley yesterday after her round. Let's take a listen to what she had to say.
I tried to play boring golf today, so I'm very happy with shooting 4 down, playing boring golf.
So what does boring golf look like for Haley King? Are you slowing down? Are you changing to mids and putters?
Yeah, definitely throwing a lot of putters and mids, and just like hole 6 as an example, I'm laying up like whatever, just right past that corner. Just I want par. I don't care about birdie. So just today was a lot of let's get par. If I can get a birdie, cool. If not, no, just whatever. Yeah. So hole 16, threw my drive. It hit a tree right off the tee. Kicked left, and there was a spotter on the hole, but I think he was too far to see where my disc actually went. So my group, we put the 3-minute timer on, and then we couldn't find it, so we just decided re-tee because nobody really saw where the disc went. Like if it went OB, if it was safe, we didn't know. It just disappeared, so we just figured re-tee. I think I'll stick with the safe game plan just because after watching the previous MVPs, it's like whoever can stay closer to par on the negative side is going to win the tournament. So I don't need to play aggressive out here. I don't need to get every birdie I can. I just need to keep the pars going and keep the double bogeys out of there.
Haley King is now being chased down by Ohn Scoggins, who, despite feeling 60% healthy going into the day, shot a 2 under par, showed the resilience that we're used to seeing from Ohn. Nate, what do you make of her shooting such a good round despite not having the full skill set out there?
Well, it just shows you how much heart Ohn really has, and you wouldn't know it talking to her that she's dealing with an injury, that she just DNF'd at the biggest tournament of the year, because she's still the same joyous Ohn that we all know and love. And she hopped up here to the interview and was just telling me exactly where in her arm it was hurting and why she can't really throw backhands. She doesn't have the grip strength on the backhand, and she leaned on the forehand yesterday, and it paid off for her. I mean, a couple of early bogeys, but then just the stretch of clean golf, 5 through 18, goes bogey free, shoots 2 under. Putting really carried her, as it always does, Brian.
I wonder how she's going to fare, though, over a 4-round tournament. She had mentioned that the week prior to Worlds, she played 2 practice rounds a day and threw 500 putts a day. And you know what? Of course you're going to get some tendonitis doing something like that. It's incredible that she's been able to practice with that intensity all season long with no problems at all. I don't think there's any other player doing anything close to that in regards to practice. So we'll see if she can mitigate some of the inflammation. I mean, she's kind of a warrior out there, so we'll just have to see how she handles the putting and the backhand. But it seems like the forehand is working pretty well for her. It's not giving her any problems. We did also listen to Ohn. Let's take a listen.
Overall, my game probably 60-65%. Backhand and putting still like quite affect. Especially backhand is kind of every throw is kind of painful. Sidearm was not bad at all. Sidearm was like not hurt me much at all. So last week, thank God, in that 2 course was a lot of sidearm. So I'm probably throw like 4 or 5 backhand around on that last week. So this morning I'm probably throw like 4 or 5 or so backhand, so I can deal with it. I try to throw sidearm the most I can, not looking for backhand much, because I know when I throw a backhand it's kind of like cause me hurt, and then I don't want to make it worse. So after this one I have to put the ice on, and hopefully it should be like another like 2-3 weeks for me to be completely done with my If it's more windy, I have to change my disc and my dry a little bit, or if it's less windy, and probably have to throw a different disc. But pretty much I stick on a lot of sidearm, try not to throw backhand, try not to hurt my arm too much, and because I have a lot of tournament waiting for, and I'm done with DNF, so.
And as we look at the scoreboard, Nate, this might be the longest we've gone in Tournament Central without talking about Kristin Tattar. She's 5 strokes off the lead. This is the biggest deficit since Jonesboro, where she had 6 strokes to gain after the first round, and she didn't win that tournament. Nate, talk about what we saw from Kristin yesterday. She looked a little bit shaky, picked it up towards the end, and showed a little bit more resilience towards the end there.
Yeah, I think just to jump back to April, I recall when she had that deficit to Kat Mertsch, and Kristin for the first time was kind of checked out. I don't know if you remember that. She was just ready to get back home to Estonia to take that break, and she just finished Worlds. I mean, she accomplished what she came here to do, to win another world title. And I didn't see her check out at any moment yesterday, but you have to wonder how hard it is to maintain that high level of focus. Like, how do you come to Maple Hill after this big tournament and still have that fire burning inside you, Brian?
I don't think there's a secret formula to it. I think it's just one of those things you have to experience, and she's one of the few people that can say that she has experienced that emotional hangover after taking down a big championship. But you can say that any player on the tour that has performed extremely well over the course of a weekend always says that it's exhausting. You don't want to make any more decisions after you tap out on 18 the final day. But you know what? I really appreciate how she battled back after a slow start. Yeah, she looked unsatisfied, but that incredible forehand down the hill in 11 seemed to kind of spark things a little bit for her. She got 14 and 15, both very solid birdies. The one thing I have to say, she doesn't find herself in this position too often, Nate. I don't think she's checked out. I don't think she's ready to go back to Estonia. She has a major coming up next week. I think Kristin might be a little excited waking up this morning knowing the target is not as on her back as it is on Eveliina's today.
And Brian, she actually had a chance to close out the round. She never found a rhythm, but as you said, birdie's there on 14, 15. She missed that C1 putt on 16, had a chance on 17, and then actually missed that one on 18. Here, we're flashing back to hole 1. This is her chance to save par. I feel like it's been a while since we've seen an opening round bogey.
Early release here on 3, and it just looked shaky, and that's okay. She said she misread the wind on this one. She missed 4 circle 1 putts yesterday.
Yep.
That is unheard of when we look at the entire season that she's been having. So like I said again, Nate, I think Kristin wakes up this morning saying, I have nothing to lose now. I just want to win this tournament. I just want to prepare for the major coming up next week. I have a Grand Slam to win. It's time to play some disc golf and show off my versatility and my experience when the conditions get this nasty today. With that said, we did talk to Kristin as well. Let's take a listen to what she had to say.
I feel like something was off today. Some of the drives were really off, missed a couple of putts. It was like the focus was on and off, I felt like. It wasn't constant. I don't know why. It was a bit of a up and down round.
I felt a lot of weird wind coming off the water and seeping through the trees. Was it hard to get wind reads out there today?
I think I was overthinking one of the putts on the forehand hole. I was just overthinking. At first I was thinking, okay, it's windy, you have to take it into consideration. And then I was like, no, don't think about it. Just do your normal putt. And then it was tailwind, and I missed it low. I was like, wow, why? But yeah, it was just maybe overthinking. I don't think the weather was that bad at all.
Well, you had almost a career highlight on number 11, the downhill forehand. I have never seen you so excited. You almost fell over with joy. Talk about the shot.
I had an awful drive, awful second shot. I was like, okay, you have to pull it together, and now you have to hit that line there. I know I can do it. And then when I released it, I thought, okay, this is perfect. Like, it had the perfect angle to come out from the flex. And then I was like, wow, it might go in. And it hit the band. I was like, oh, it would have been so much fun.
Well, she has 5 strokes to gain on Eveliina Salonen. That pressure is likely to get put on very early. But later in the round, there's a specific hole that's really challenging when the wind picks up to this 20, 30 mile an hour mark. And that's hole number 13, Nate. Talk about the hole itself and talk about how it plays when the conditions get rough.
Well, yeah, it's one of the few holes that the MPO and FPO have the same exact tee and pin position, and it's one of the hardest and most memorable birdies to capture here at Maple. 472 downhill. Today we have the wind out of the north, Brian, so we're going to have a pretty strong tailwind, which it's hard to get the stability correct when you have that tailwind. It's very easy to fade off. Yesterday we actually saw Kristin speed things up a little too much, turn her drive over to the right, which is a very common miss, and then it can be pretty tricky to actually get up and down. The ideal shot is a mid-range that's thrown pretty flat and just starts to drift just inside that big tree with enough height to carry over that road, but you really want to hit short of this pin. It's very easy to fly this one. It's like 50 feet descending from the tee to the pin here. Here's Kristin's shot. Hits it flat, but just didn't get the stability right on this one. Brian, what do you see?
So what is super challenging about this hole is where her disc is heading. If you go back about 200-300 feet, the pond on hole number 14 is right there, and the wind does some very bizarre stuff off there. And sometimes it's strong enough to creep through the trees and actually affect the flight of the disc. And we see this weird wind bounce from Missy's. The one thing that I will say, this year they've built kind of a retention wall off to that left side, which to me lessens the dice roll effect of actually hitting the gap nicely. This is a beautiful putt here from Missy. But it makes the hole better, in my opinion. If you pure the line, you get a little fade off at the end. You're not rolling the dice as much. You're not pulling the slot machine lever as much. You're going to get rewarded if you throw a good line out here. And today, that's going to come into play big time because of that tailwind coming out of the north, like you said. With that said, we have more disc golf to talk about, but not until we take a quick commercial break here on the Disc Golf Network.
Whether I'm on the course or behind the camera, there's one thing driving me forward: the shot. The shot that no one else thinks about or would even dare to try. The shot that people will remember, that tells a story. For me, that's what disc golf's all about. Introducing the time lapse, the first 12-speed featuring gyro overmold technology, and the first disc in the Simon line. Coming soon.
A round of disc golf can be long, and if you're playing in a tournament, it can feel like a marathon. This can leave you physically and mentally fatigued by the end when your shots matter most. With space for your discs, water, and even a place to sit, a cart enables you to bring what you need, helping you feel more prepared and energized without carrying the extra weight. This can help you maintain your edge and save you strokes through every round.
Feeling great starts with a great shave. Today, the world is in the palm of your hand. Or at least this can is. For over 100 years, Barbasol, it's a can of can-do.
And welcome back. You are watching Tournament Central here on the Disc Golf Network. The MVP Open is happening this week on the Disc Golf Network, and if you're not already subscribed to DGN, you can subscribe today and use the code Tournament Central, all one word, at checkout for a free month subscription. Just scan the QR code or hit the link in the YouTube description to subscribe today to watch the rest of the disc golf season live as it unfolds. And with that subscription, you can watch the upcoming major in Burlington, North Carolina, the U.S. Women's Disc Golf Championship. I am joined here now by the PDGA's Rebecca Duffy. This is a very special tournament, over 300 players set to come out. We have a brand new course. Talk about it and talk about everything that the PDGA is doing that week.
Well, I mean, this is going to be a fantastic tournament. It's celebrating women's disc golf in its finest form. Burlington has a brand new course that we're all excited about, that the FPO and the FP40 will be playing, and so we're really excited about that. But one of the things that the Women's Committee have come up with is every year at the United States Disc Golf Women's Championship, there'll be a tournament director awarded that has run high-quality events that not only celebrate women, but also encompass all women's disc golf, and this will be awarded every year. The Women's Committee has sent out nominations to all of our female members, and back in July, the Women's Committee voted on it, and this award is so special because it is named after Becky Zalek, and Becky Zalek she co-directed one of the best worlds on record, still to this date, 2000 and 2004 in Des Moines, Iowa. She ran it was a pro, am, and junior worlds in Des Moines, Iowa. It was amazing, and she got 2007 Volunteer of the Award. She was inducted into the Hall of Fame in 2013, but fortunately she passed away 2 months later after she was inducted to the Hall of Fame from brain cancer. So this award is dedicated to Becky Zalek, and the tournament director that'll be awarded this will be very, very special.
Obviously incredible for the PDGA to be respecting somebody who paved the way for so many incredible players. Thank you so much, Rebecca. And one of those players coming to Burlington to take down a title laid out by Becky Zalek, Missy Gannon,
yes,
who is going for a title this week. We are going to talk about Missy Gannon as well. She is on the chase card, chasing down your leaders on the lead. Missy looked solid yesterday. There were certain parts of her game that looked a bit shaky. Nate, what do you think?
Yeah, she wasn't in a great rhythm off the tee early, Brian. I feel like some of her chances to score are on, the holes 2 through 8, and she played that even par. Look at that reaction there on 8. I bet the 8 holes love that little tree direct right there. And then a nice putt there on hole 10. Pardon me, that was 11. And this putt, Missy, one of 2 players yesterday to get the birdie there on 13, as well as Haley King. And then backs it up here on 14, commits to the width out over the water. Are those Thrashers going to be able to hold up in the wind today, Brian?
She's been working in some more stable stuff. I've noticed, me and you have both been noticing that her bag is definitely changing. She's not just a one-trick pony anymore. She's been leaning into more overstable 12 speeds, 13 speeds. I think it's going to suit her chances out here very well. We also have to remember, even par is a solid round out here. The 6 under from Eveliina Salonen was a 1040 rated round, one of the best rounds of the entire season. Mm-hmm. So what she did yesterday was okay. I know that she wants a few of those strokes back. Today might not be that opportunity to do that, but if she shoots an even par today, she is right in the mix. I think there's going to be a lot of players that falter today.
Yeah, I agree. I think that we could not see another under par round for the week, Brian, because we've got wind today. We've got the hurricane coming tomorrow and Sunday. So an even par could move Missy Gannon into second place. She could be playing on the lead card. Another player that we need to talk about who's right behind her, who had herself a very interesting day. If you take a look at the U-Disc, Lisa Fakis not really giving herself too many chances from Circle 1 or Circle 2. Just 3 green hits yesterday, but playing pretty clean, Brian. 1 down through 7, bogey-free is not bad.
Well, just like Haley King said yesterday, it's really who stays close to even. That's who's going to be in the mix. I think maybe if you pop off one big round, a few under, you're right in the mix to take down a victory, especially if the wind conditions stay the way they are today. The thing that Lisa has over a lot of the field is that really clean, direct spin putt. When the wind picks up big time and she's not necessarily in a favorable spot, she's going to be able to work something to the basket. I think that's just been how Lisa has always been. She's a scrapper. She's not out here throwing 450, 500-foot shots, but she throws accurate. She's good backhand and forehand. And again, the spin putt is going to work out there for her today. Hopefully the release point's feeling good because like you say, Nate, you live and die by the spin putt, and it's really a day-by-day thing. Another player we have to talk about is Jessica Weiss, who's also playing solid right now, 2 over par on the chase card going into this second day. Jessica's another one of those players that has an incredibly high skill ceiling and throws the disc incredibly well from both backhand and forehand sides.
Yeah, and it's good to see Jessica on this chase card. She's actually been struggling with her confidence over the last couple months since, we saw her kind of lose her putt back in Montana. She was just stricken with, the yips from that short distance. And we've seen players struggle like getting back to ground zero when that happens on the cameras. And it's taken Jessica some time, but it looks like she was hitting some putts from the edge of C1 yesterday. And she accumulated some birdies on the back 9 to finish at that 2 over par, and 2 over par plays here at Maple.
Well, you saw the start. That's a really deflating start to have out here at Maple Hill. The fact is, she came back and she finished as well as she possibly could. I think today it's just management, and again, another advantage that she has is she throws hard. She throws good flex shots. She knows how to work over stable plastic, and that's it. I think that's what we have to look forward to today with Jessica Weiss. On the other side, we have a wood specialist, Holly Finley, that's going to have to battle the conditions out there today. Holly, incredible gap shooter, incredible shot shaper. What do you think she has to do today to keep it together in the wind?
Well, Holly knows how to also spin them in, and she knows how to deliver them flat. So I think that different from anyone else on this third card there is Holly is also at the edge of qualifying for this tournament. I believe she's right there on the bubble. She needs to play well here to get back into the Tour Championship. Remember, it's the top 18. Top 20 are in, but 2 people have won on the Elite Series, so they're guaranteed a spot. Holly needs to play well here at Maple to move forward.
Well, lots of storylines. We're going to wrap things up here at Tournament Central. For Brian Earhart and Nate Perkins, we're going to see you out there on the ground. We're going to throw it to the booth. We have action starting very soon.
I'm super stoked about my new bag line. I'm actually still rocking the very first Voyager Pro I got when I joined MVP over 2.5 years ago, so I'm stoked to get some new bags and some personalized ones just for me. We got 3 awesome colorways picked out. The James Conrad World Champion patch right on the front is such a cool touch to me. It's kind of reminiscent of the artwork on the stock Nomad. It'll be an awesome chance for fans to support me and to rock some new colorways on the Voyager bags with this release.
What makes the whole